My dear Dolly Polly, shut your eyes, lie still, lie silent, utter no cries, as the witcher, brave and bold, paid in coin of gold. He'll chop and slice, you gut and dice, you eat, you uphold. Eat you whole.
Mutants, monsters, morality. These three components make up the world of The Witcher. Together, they create the best dark fantasy experience I've ever had. I'm Detective Cook, and today we're going to investigate why the world of The Witcher has the best dark fantasy setting. To get this investigation started off, I figure we need to establish a baseline. What exactly is dark fantasy? To pin down a true hardline definition of what dark fantasy is can be difficult. Dark fantasy is both very specific and very, very vague. It's one of those things where to define it, it's pretty hard, but once you see it, play it, or read it, you know exactly what it is. But in any case, I'm going to try and pin it down. In general terms, dark fantasy is when fantasy meets horror. A lot of the time, the darkness in dark fantasy is both literal and metaphorical. The worlds are bleak, with gray, overcast skies and deep, darkened forests that will swallow up any poor soul who dares enter. Death is swift, abundant, and brutal. A lot of times, horrific. The best dark fantasy worlds are effervescent in the darkness. It's a bit weird because the darkness is both depressing and almost celebrated. At the very least, we, as the fans, celebrate it. The darkness in dark fantasy is not merely a tagline or a backdrop or something used to shock the viewer. It is a storytelling device. But dark fantasy isn't always about death or destruction. In a lot of dark fantasy tales, there is usually a silver lining to all the horrors that the characters experience. The light always shines brightest when it's in the dark. It's sort of like winter in a way. You need to survive the long and dark, cold night in order to make it to the brighter day, even if they are shorter. In my opinion, The Witcher, the stories of Geralt of Rivia encapsulate this perfectly. With the success of CD Projekt Red's The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt and Netflix's The Witcher, no matter what anyone here thinks about it, The Witcher is more popular than ever. And with The Witcher 4 being recently announced and being confirmed to be centered on Ciri, now is probably the best time for anyone who's new to the world to start to get into it. I just want to say, I am no expert on The Witcher. I have yet to complete the written series, the books written by Andrzej Sapkowski, and I have yet to play The Witchers 1 and 2. I'm merely a fan who wants to introduce more people to something that I love. While I'll be backing up my initial claim with various evidence that I find throughout the books and the games, ultimately, whatever I say here is opinionated. And if you agree, great. If you disagree, tell me why in the comments. What do you think is the best dark fantasy world? The Witcher is a fantasy series originally created by Polish author Andrzej Sapkowski. It centers around one Witcher named Geralt of Rivia and his adventures through the setting called the Continent. As a Witcher, Geralt is a mutant, transformed as a boy as one of the lucky few to make it through Kaer Morhen. His trade is killing monsters for coin, much to the dismay of the townsfolk and nobles around him. With silver sword in hand and toxic potions coursing through his veins, he takes up arms against the evil brought into the world by the conjunction of the spheres, a cataclysmic event that brought both monsters and magic to the continent. The Witcher's bestiary includes classic monsters like werewolves and vampires, but it also has some more unknown creatures like the Kikimor. Some of Geralt's adventures are very reminiscent of various fairy tales written by Hans Christian Andersen and the Grimm's brothers, but as always with a darker twist, sometimes darker than the original story entailed. With the Witchers being mutants, part man and part something else, they have a different perspective on the world of monsters and men. At the very least, Geralt does. Mutants in the world of man are a double-edged sword. As monster hunters, Witchers take it upon themselves and risk life and limb to protect humanity. However, it is usually those same people that hate and fear them. Often ridiculed, mocked, and insulted, the Witchers are reviled and criticized, at least until a werewolf is eating the neighborhood children. Then, as a final insult, their pay may be shortchanged, if they are paid at all. Not even cats like Witchers, often hissing with their hair standing on its end whenever a Witcher approaches. To be fair, cats have a right to react the way that they do. The Witchers are incredibly dangerous. They're also inherently wrong. However, to kill a monster, you often need to become one. A Witcher's journey always starts off with something called the Trial of the Grasses. Crafted and curated by human mages, the Trial of the Grasses are a collection of alchemical and mutagenic processes that transform and mutate the human body. The Witchers-to-be are often orphaned human boys, usually no older than 10. The boys will then spend a week in immeasurable pain and agony. For many of the boys, this will be the last thing that they ever feel. Only about 3 to 4 out of every 10 boys make it through the Trial of the Grasses, and even less make it to the end of their Witcher training. Those that do make it through the trial will live the rest of their lives with various gifts and curses. A Witcher has superhuman strength, speed, agility, and endurance. They have an accelerated healing factor and a tremendous resistance to disease and poisons. Whereas a snake bite would kill any normal man, a Witcher may just feel some simple discomfort. Where you would die from a plague covered in your own juices, a Witcher could breathe the same air with no problem. The trademark cat-like eyes grant them better vision in blinding daylight or the darkest nights. The transformation also grants these boys a higher magic potential, granting them the ability to cast small rudimentary spells called Witcher signs. Depending on how you see it, the Witchers are gifted or cursed with longevity. They can live incredibly long lives and have prolonged youth. As of the newest Witcher book, Crossroads of Ravens, Geralt is 18 years old in the year 1229, making his birth year 1211. By the end of the Witcher saga, Geralt would be 57 years old, not even 60. On the long end, Geralt is also depicted to be 106 years old by the end of Season 3 of the Netflix series. Either way, many iterations of the character depict Geralt as looking to be no more than, say, 35 to 40. Becoming a Witcher holds many advantages, as you can see. However, it also holds many disadvantages as well. For one, Witchers can live a very long time. However, due to the nature of their work, they usually don't live all that long. Fang, claw, blade, and bludgeon can kill you just as easily as it can kill any usual man. You can't hunt monsters and make coin if you have no head attached to your shoulders. Not to mention your social standing is incredibly poor. You're both hated and feared. At the best of times, people regard you as simply antisocial. And at the worst, people grab their swords, pitchforks, and spears and point them at you, treating you as if you were some psychopathic killing machine. Which, due to your dulled emotions, they aren't entirely wrong. But it's not enough for the Witcher to have superhuman strength or speed or reflexes. Having the right tools for the job is just as important. Every self-respecting Witcher will carry 2 swords, steel for men, silver for monsters. Monsters, being inherently magical and or otherworldly, have an innate resistance to steel. Silver bypasses this. But silver is a softer metal, so when facing humans, non-human races such as elves or dwarves, or even beasts like bears or wolves, steel will do just fine. It also helps that the Witchers coat their blades in various different oils to help cause more damage to whatever specific monster they're fighting. If a Witcher happens to find himself at range, a well-placed shot from a one-handed crossbow will do the trick just fine. Witchers also use various bombs to help them out during combat, or to set up traps. These bombs can range from simple explosives to bombs filled with flammable gas, to even bombs that halt magical abilities entirely, such as a monster's regeneration or a mage's spellcasting. Now all this is well and good. With the swords, the bombs, the oils, and poisons, you'd think that the Witcher would just be set, right? Especially with the intensive training that they need to go through. But even still, it's not enough. For some encounters, a Witcher may still need essentially a power-up. These power-ups come in the form of Witcher potions. Witchers are master alchemists, being able to create a litany of various different potions and decoctions to help them in any situation. A lot of these potions are incredibly toxic to the human body. If you or I were to take a swig, we'd die damn near instantly, and pretty painfully. Among the most famous potions include Swallow, which accelerates the already accelerated healing factor of the Witcher, essentially erasing injuries mid-combat. There's also Thunderbolt, which both strengthens the muscles and puts the Witcher into a battle trance, essentially making them more efficient fighters while dealing more damage. And lastly, there's Black Blood. This one is my personal favorite. Essentially, it is used primarily for vampires and necrophages, monsters who feast upon the dead, and when a Witcher drinks it, it essentially turns their blood into a poison. So if they try to eat the Witcher or to drink its blood, it's more than likely going to die itself. And if the Witcher happens to unfortunately fall in battle, he gets to have one last laugh. Lastly, to cap off this section, we're going to go over the Witcher signs. As I said before, the Witcher signs are small, rudimentary spells that they can cast quickly in combat. Spells are never the main focus of Witcher training. They aren't mages or even warrior mages. A Witcher is a swordsman first and foremost. But the right sign at the right time can do wonders. There are 5 main Witcher signs that are used primarily throughout the games. First up is Ard, which is essentially a force push that a Witcher could either shoot out in front of them, or they could shoot it into the ground, causing an area of effect, pushing everyone away. Then there is Igni, which allows the Witcher to shoot forth small flames and embers in an area in front of them, or they can choose to shoot a continuous gout of fire at a singular target. Next is Yrden, which is a magical circle. Purple runes appear wherever the Witcher is standing, and within that circle, enemy combatants are slowed, and those that are incorporeal, such as ghosts or wraiths, become corporeal, allowing the Witcher to strike true. Then there is Quen, a simple yet effective defensive spell. It allows the Witcher to set up an active shield that can disappear after a hit, or it can form as a bubble around the Witcher. If they have enough concentration, they can keep it up. Then there is Axii, which is incredibly versatile both in and out of combat. In combat, Axii can confuse an opponent, or it can even force them to fight on your side. Out of combat, Axii can be used to persuade others into doing what you want. Very good for getting an extra reward for bringing in that werewolf's head. With their swords, signs, bombs, and potions, and the training to use it all, the Witcher is an incredibly dangerous and versatile combatant. It truly is no wonder that they are so feared across the continent. From a lore perspective, being a Witcher is a trade, like blacksmithing or carpentry. They are mercenaries who sell their services to the highest bidder. However, one could make the case that the Order of Witchers are essentially an order of dark knights. It is their job to protect people, and they do it well, but they will not do it for free. They'll even use what some would call unconventional or even dishonorable methods in combat, all to ensure their victory. Where the noble knight is bound to the laws and dictates of the code of chivalry, a Witcher has no such limitations. They aren't exactly nice, kind, or social beings. But when a troll is picking off people one by one, are you really going to complain if the Witcher has no manners? Witchers even train exclusively in old castles made specifically for them. For the Witchers to be as effective as they are, they must become like those that they hunt. And now we're going to get into the Witcher's bestiary. The conjunction of the spheres brought a collection of monsters for the Witchers to hunt and kill. If I were to go over the entire Witcher's bestiary, we would be here all day. So I just want to shed light on a select few, mainly the ones that have human-level intelligence. First, I want to discuss the trolls. They're a race of monster that are sort of built like gorillas, with long arms that reach all the way to the floor, and on their backs they have fairly hard shells made either out of rock or ice, depending on the variant of troll you happen to come across. Now, these trolls are monsters like any other, incredibly dangerous for any normal person to fight on their own. They could rip a man apart in seconds, and they have quite the taste for human meat in particular. However, even if you aren't a Witcher, you may just be able to survive a troll encounter. And that is because they are exceptionally stupid, really only having the intelligence of a toddler or small child. If you have a little bit of wit, you can easily convince a troll to vacate its current mountain cave and go search for food elsewhere. Vampires and werewolves are much more dangerous prey for a Witcher to go against. They are stronger, faster, more durable, and not to mention the various abilities that both vampires and werewolves have to kill you. Vampires and werewolves are also exceptionally smarter than trolls, having the intelligence of their human form. And usually vampires are much, much smarter because they live longer lives. The more time that you have, the more experience you're going to gain. These monsters can also hide seamlessly with people, effectively hiding in plain sight. Before I go any further, I just want to provide this disclaimer. From here on out, there will be spoilers for The Witcher books, Baptism of Fire, and The Last Wish, and there will also be spoilers for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. If you have not played the game or read those books, I highly suggest that you go and do so that you can experience the world of The Witcher for yourself. With that out of the way, let's get back into it. From what we've seen, we know Geralt to make the choice to not kill monsters that have not harmed anyone. Now you may think this is quite antithetical to the idea of being a Witcher. However, I'll tell you this. The Witcher's primary job is to protect humanity from monsters, not necessarily to kill them. If no monsters are endangering anyone, it's okay to just leave them alone. This is highlighted in one of my favorite Witcher 3 quests called Contract Skellige's Most Wanted. I'm going to be primarily focusing on the climax of this quest, as the finer details don't necessarily matter for the purpose of what I'm trying to convey here. This quest takes place within the region of Skellige, a collection of islands with a culture that is a lot like that of the Norse. This is an area that you unlock in the latter end of Act 1 after you've spent some time within Velen and Novigrad. This is also a level 29 quest, so by the time you come across this contract, you'll have a pretty decent idea of what being a Witcher is, but also who Geralt is and who he can be. I say that because a lot of contracts and quests beforehand that you may come across will actually allow you to either kill or spare the monster that you're hunting. And with this quest, Skellige's Most Wanted, the game actually has tracked the monster that you have either killed or spared, and it pretty much throws it right into your face. At the climax of this quest, Geralt is approached by a werewolf, an ice troll, and a godling and a doppler. Now, a godling is essentially, it looks a little bit like an ugly child. Gray, leathery skin with big eyes, but they are pretty much harmless. They're pretty much just children themselves. They just like to play harmless tricks and pranks on people. They're annoying, but not necessarily dangerous. And a doppler can be dangerous, but they also have human-level intelligence. A doppler is pretty much just a doppelganger, a monster who can shapeshift into various human and non-human forms. With their intelligence, they also know right from wrong. Even one of Geralt's own allies is a doppler himself by the name of Dudu Bibervelt, and he has a fairly minor yet important part to play in The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. But back to the quest at hand. Now, these four have formed a team with the sole purpose of killing you, except that really only the werewolf wants to kill you. The other three just wanted to scare Geralt out of hunting monsters. The werewolf hates Geralt and all other Witchers for what had happened to his partner. However, Geralt is given a chance to make his case for himself that not all Witchers are just mindless killing machines, killing any and all monsters they happen to come across. And Geralt will use prior examples from prior quests to make his case and give evidence that he is not just a psychopathic monster-killing machine. This picture from the Witcher Wikipedia will show you the different monsters that you can spare throughout your playthrough of The Witcher 3. And you can see that the top two, sparing the trolls at Kaer Morhen and allowing Sarah the Godling to stay in Novigrad, are default if you start on one of the expansions instead of the main story. So we have canonical evidence that Geralt of Rivia himself would rather not kill monsters unless he is absolutely forced to. And to me, this makes complete sense. I mean, who would understand the plight of the monster than the one who hunts them for a living? To a lot of mundane people, the Witchers are monsters themselves, no better than the vampire or the werewolf, just another monster wearing a human face. Witchers are constantly mocked, ridiculed, insulted, and feared, and they are still expected to take contract after contract for the same people that have created and discarded them. And by the time that you may come across this quest, your silver blade is drenched in the blood of hundreds, if not thousands, of monsters. However, are you really all that different from them? I also want to highlight that in the original Polish version of the game, this quest is called The Most Dangerous Monster on Skellige. If it's not obvious, the title is talking about you, the player, Geralt of Rivia, are the most dangerous monster on Skellige. I also want to take the time to highlight the character of Regis, a higher vampire who was introduced in Book 3 of the Witcher Saga, A Baptism of Fire. Now, when you think of a vampire, you more than likely think of something that is monstrous, something that is undead both literally and metaphorically, in the sense that they are so far removed from life and time itself that they can no longer really feel the way that we would, that mortals would, that humans would. However, Regis has saved Geralt's life on 2 accounts, and prior to that, he's saved the life of an innocent woman. At this point within the Baptism of Fire, Geralt is currently searching for his adoptive daughter, Ciri, alongside a party of adventurers Geralt has begrudgingly collected. The party had entered a town on the Chotla River. Within that town, a mentally challenged woman was being condemned to death by the priesthood under the suspicion of being a witch and being in cahoots with a vampire within the area. Our heroes protested this. However, the priest decided that they would prove her innocence by holding an impossible trial. One of them were to remove a horseshoe from the fire they were going to burn the woman with, and if they had no burn marks, then the woman is innocent and she could go free. Regis himself stepped up to do it, and lo and behold, when he reached into the fire, grabbed onto the horseshoe, there were no burns. The priest then claimed it was black magic, but before anything else could be done, Nilfgaard, a neighboring empire that has been waging war in the north, decided to attack. In the confusion, everyone in the party got scattered, and Geralt and his bard companion, Dandelion, were captured. Waking up within Fort Armeria, the commander of the fort decided that the Witcher and the bard should hang for their connection to Ciri. While Geralt and Dandelion were thinking up a plan, Regis came and put the guards to sleep while also slicing off their ropes, saving them from the gallows. The next time Regis saves Geralt is within the Blood and Wine expansion of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Geralt is tasked by a duchess to hunt what is called the Beast of Beauclair. It turns out this beast is another higher vampire by the name of Detlef. When Geralt and Detlef first meet, they engage in a deadly dance of blade and claw, fang versus silver. And before one can gain the upper hand over the other, Regis, a friend of Detlef, intervenes, stating that he is also a friend of the Witcher Geralt. Keep in mind that Regis injures himself on Detlef's claws in order to stop them from killing each other. I also want to add that in the 2 prior examples with the mentally challenged woman and saving Geralt and Dandelion from the Nilfgaardians, Regis had almost outed himself as a vampire. When Regis grabbed onto the burning horseshoe, people merely thought he was a sorcerer, a mage. But when he went to go rescue Geralt and Dandelion, Geralt's medallion started vibrating. So we have multiple examples of Regis, a higher vampire, a monster whose folktales would let you believe that they are nothing but merely creatures that drain life from others, has saved lives himself while also revealing his true nature to a professional vampire killer in the process. You also have the priest who was about to unjustly kill an innocent woman. Within the world of The Witcher, the lines between man and monster are blurred. Up until this point, we have discussed both the mutants and the monsters of the world of The Witcher. We will now discuss how morality is portrayed within The Witcher. Now, within dark fantasy, morality is often portrayed as something that is gray. Morality is never black and white. There is never ever something that is solely good or solely evil. I would even go as far as to say that anything that claims to be dark fantasy that portrays good and evil as a binary is rarely ever worth your time, because a lot of the time it misses the point of dark fantasy itself. With that, I'm not saying that ideas of good and evil need to be perpetually gray within media. I've grown up on superheroes, on Star Wars, and a lot of that just pits good and evil on two opposite ends of the spectrum, but that is for different forms of media. That is not for dark fantasy. Even within The Witcher, you have these mutant fighters that will protect you, your family, from these various otherworldly monsters and creatures, but you better have the coin to pay them. You can actually come across a situation like this in The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt as part of a quest called Where the Cat and Wolf Play. Now, this quest starts off as a simple Witcher contract called The Beast of Honorton. This contract will have you travel to the titular town in order to deal with whatever monster problem that they have. However, as you approach the town, you'll quickly understand that there's something more here. You'll see that bodies and blood litter the grounds of this once lively town. And in the center of it all, a collection of ghouls gorge themselves on a couple of corpses. Now, at this point in the game, you should be at least level 25, so you should be able to make quick work of the ghouls here. And once you do, job's done, right? I mean, the monsters are dead. Now, you would be correct, except that the experienced Witcher would know that ghouls themselves aren't really hunters or predators, they are scavengers. It is much more likely that someone else had killed these people, and that the stench of the dead just attracted these monsters. And that's exactly what Geralt picks up on. From there, you complete the contract, and the quest switches to Where the Cat and Wolf Play. Now you'll be tasked with going through the town and examining it for any signs of life, or evidence of what really happened.
Necrophages tore the body apart. Can't say what killed him, though. Sword wounds. Somebody's well off, especially for Velen. A Leshen's head, chopped off with a sharp knife. Well, well. Somebody beat me to it. First cut severed the aorta, second hit the femoral artery. He died quickly, didn't put up a fight. throat sliced open. Probably died defending its owner. Blade pierced her back between vertebrae, severed her spinal cord. She couldn't move. Bled to death. Cuts. Shallow, but each hit an artery. Bolt snapped in half. Blood. Mixed with something. That smell. Alcohol, earthball, and wolfsbane. A potion. This blood didn't come from a peasant. Arm severed above the elbow, with one blow. Pitchfork. Dangerous weapon at close quarters. Imperial mustache, plump cheeks. Important man. Cause of death, stab wound. Blade between the ribs, straight to the heart. Holding something. Silver chain, snapped. Ripped it off someone. Shit. Stop.
It seems that there is one more living soul left in this town, one last survivor of whatever massacre had happened here. But before we go any further, I'd like to highlight the profile that Geralt is creating and that we, the player, are finding out for ourselves as we play through this quest. Now, Geralt is able to come to the conclusion that the killer used a sword, but not only that, that they were exceptionally skilled with the blade, being able to isolate and strike at key points of the human body in order to ensure a quick kill. Not only that, but Geralt finds the head of a larger, even more dangerous monster called a Leshen. I won't deviate too much from the quest at hand, but Leshens are infinitely more dangerous for a Witcher to fight against than a group of ghouls. Then we have the blood sample that Geralt examines. As Geralt states, within the blood there is a mixture of alcohol, earthball, and wolfsbane. Now, we all know what alcohol is, and earthball is a type of mushroom, but wolfsbane is an incredibly toxic plant. So toxic that it will place a normal human being into cardiac arrest. Now, technically, all three ingredients are toxic to the human body, and it's very obvious that no normal man is just going to be drinking wolfsbane beer without the minor side effect of a fatal heart attack. I'm sure we all know where this is going, but I'm not going to spoil the surprise for you just yet.
Don't worry. I'm not going to hurt you. Calm down. Just want to talk to you.
Leave me be! Killer! Murderer!
I got it wrong.
You've cat eyes, same as him!
That's because I'm a witcher. I kill monsters.
Said the same, Saturn! And you see what he done?
Did he have two swords on his back?
Not telling you nothing! Go away!
All right, enough. Tell me what happened here.
I'll tell ye. Oh, woods. They was haunted. Some spook. Uncle Silvermere said we best fetch a witcher. So one came. Looked lots like you, but there were evil in his eyes. He bought the spook's headset. Uncle Silvermere weren't happy about something. They yelled and they cursed. And then he went to the barn and
Shh. Think I know the rest.
he let me go. I don't know why. And then he went that way, towards the circle where we leave gifts for the gods. I hid in the barn. Found this line in the A.
School of the Cat. Thanks. You've been a big help. What'll you do? Got any family around here?
Me auntie lives in Orton.
I'll take you to her. But first I gotta see to this bad man. This doll's yours, right? Hug it close and stay put. Understood? Sit tight, kid. Run off towards the circle. That'd be the place to start.
The pendant that the girl gives Geralt belongs to the School of the Cat, which is another Witcher school differing from the School of the Wolf, which Geralt hails from. Now, within Witcher lore, the School of the Cat is sort of an outsider when it comes to Witchers. Members of the school are usually described as antisocial and sociopathic, even among Witchers themselves. So we are creating quite the troubling profile for our killer here. After the Witcher ventures over towards the circle and follows the tracks, we meet our killer, Gaitin, Butcher of Honorton.
A fellow Witcher. Well, small world.
You lost something.
Come all that way to give me my medallion? Thanks. Craft Solidarity's alive and well.
But our craft's reputation is on its last legs. Folk won't easily forget that massacre.
Occupational hazard. Could have happened to any one of us. Well, what are you still doing here?
When first meeting Gaitin, you have the option to cast judgment and kill him right away. However, I'd like to see what he has to say for himself first.
I want to chat first, then we'll see.
Take a seat.
I'll stand. Now talk. Honorton, what happened?
Come on. You know what happened. Know what they wanted to pay me for the lesson? Go on, guess.
Not in the mood for guessing games.
I knew you were no fun the minute I saw you. 12. Understand, pal? 12 fucking crowns. Barely covers my potion ingredients.
What had you agreed to?
That several times over. But when it came time to pay up, you know the routine. Oh, good sir, me young'uns are starving. There's a war on. Gods have mercy. Show some pity.
Rings a bell, but that's no reason to kill.
I'm not finished. I told them I wouldn't show pity. That if I didn't see gold, they'd wish they had the lesson back. They got these grim looks. Then the alderman spoke. Calm now, Master Witcher. Me and the lads, we hid some gold in the barn, so's the Baron's men wouldn't take it. Come, you'll get your coin right quick. I fell for it, like a fool. One of them chattered on while another jabbed me in the back with a pitchfork.
So you decided to massacre the whole village?
What would you have done? Gone to the local magistrate to file a complaint? I admit, I lost my temper. Lost it bad. I'm used to shit bounties, to the cheating, to then begging me for help and then spitting as I pass. But murder me? Just to save a few crowns? I'm supposed to protect Horsens like that? So I drew steel, and didn't sheathe it till the ground was slick with blood.
The girl. Why'd you spare her?
'Cause... it doesn't matter.
Wouldn't have asked if it didn't. Talk.
Reminded me of my sister. How I remember her from... just before they took me away to the School of the Cat.
How is she now?
Died about 10 years ago. Of old age. Well, we've had our little heart-to-heart. Witcher to Witcher. What now?
A lot of innocents died in that village.
Yeah, they did. My fucking bad. Got carried away.
Not the first time either, right?
Wanna kill me, Wolf? Fine. Draw your blade. Don't force me to confess.
And so at this point, you've heard Gaten's story, and now you have the option to either spare him or kill him.
Stand and fight.
Wow. So that chat, what the hell was the point?
I give folk a chance to defend themselves, unlike you.
Awful chivalrous. A regular defender of the downtrodden. So mind if I have a dose of swallow? Come on, I'm injured. It'll even the odds a bit.
Fine. Drink.
Much appreciated. Behold, a witcher with honor. And no brains!
The soil lie light upon you. Should get back to the kid before something else sniffs her out.
Now, let's see what happens if you spare Gaiten.
Ultimately, it's not my job to judge you.
That's it? Not gonna lecture me? Make me promise to mend my ways?
They call me the Butcher of Blaviken, for good reason. I know how it is. Sometimes heads just roll.
Wait. I'm no cheap prick like those hayseeds. I owe you something. Here, directions to my stash. Take what you want.
Thanks.
No, thank you. Good luck on the path, Wolf.
I think that the character of Gaiten is the personification of the plight of the Witcher, where they continuously have to be at the service of those who openly hate them just so that they can make a living. If what he claims is true, that the alderman and his boys decided to betray Gaiten and try to kill him with a pitchfork, then why should he not let loose and draw steel on them as they did to him? I know for myself, I wouldn't want to do a job for someone and then receive only a fraction of the agreed upon amount. I'm sure that would make a lot of people watching this video lose their temper. If you spare Gaiten, Geralt himself even references the time he is dubbed the Butcher of Blaviken from The Last Wish. However, Gaiten killed everyone in town, just leaving one little girl to survive the horrors that he perpetrated against her neighbors, friends, and family. She was a witness to all of it, and she will have to deal with that trauma for the rest of her life. And all because he didn't get paid? Could he not have just killed those who tried to kill him? Going back to the investigation, Geralt found the bodies of women and dogs as well. Those bodies weren't even near the barn when Gaiten was attacked. And all of this assumes that Gaiten is telling the truth at all. I mean, when you go to kill him, if you allow him a dose of swallow, he tricks you and he throws a smoke bomb down on the ground, cutting off all visibility. He's trying to give himself an upper hand in this fight because he knows that he more than likely can't win. If you choose to be honorable with Gaitin, he returns that with treachery, and if you spare him, he rewards you with treasure.
Foglet, Ghoul, Grave Hag. Wonder why he didn't turn in these trophies. Maybe they tried to cheat him then, too.
No matter what, if you spare Gaitin or kill him, you must return to the girl and bring her to her aunt in Oriton.
You're back! I thought you'd not return. That he'd hurt you too.
I'm fine. And he won't hurt anyone ever again.
So you'll take me to my auntie's. It's awful here.
Sure thing. Let's go.
Think I could ride on your shoulders?
So long as you promise not to pull my hair.
I promise.
Then hop on up.
When you meet the little girl's aunt, you can even choose to either lie about what happened or tell her the truth.
Auntie Lucy!
Millie, what are you doing here, you naughty girl?
'Cause back in the village, there's no...
I'll explain. You run along and play a bit, all right? There was a massacre in Honorton. No survivors. Well, except her.
Gods, what happened? A bandit attack?
A monster killed them. A Leshen. They'd posted a contract, but I arrived too late.
'Twas a lovely village. Good folk lived there, good and true. Oh, 'tis tragic. Tragic indeed.
You'll look after her?
Truth be told, you'd do better to take her with you.
Funny. Used to be folk were afraid we'd take their kids.
Used to be folk weren't so in need. Got 4 of me own grandkids. Used to be 6, but we buried 2 last winter. Hard to live off naught but bark soup.
No, another Witcher did it. Villagers provoked him.
They speak true of you lot. Heartless and cruel. Murderers all.
Not all. He's received the ultimate punishment. Enough said.
What of it? Ye think that settled things? That folk will forget?
No, they won't forget. They'll continue to fear us, hate us. I've grown accustomed. Doesn't matter. Didn't come here to make peace. You'll look after her?
Truth be told, you'd do better to take her with you.
What? You call me a murderer, then want to entrust a child to me?
Ye shan't lead her around with an empty belly. There's that.
And to add a little bit of more complications to this, CD Projekt Red decides to give you the option of whether to give her money or not.
Take this. Use it for food, and only food. If I come back and see you drinking...
So much. The gods reward ye, Master Witcher, 1,000 blessings.
Time I was on my way.
No? But why?
Witcher's lot in life. Always on the road, on the path.
Will you come back and see me sometime?
Hope so. Take care, kid.
Millie, come, child. We'll buy a bit of flour. Your aunt'll whip up some pancakes. Sound good to ye?
Times are tough.
What do you know about it? Be gone already.
Time I was on my way.
No? But why?
Witcher's lot in life. Always on the road, on the path.
Will you come back and see me sometime?
Hope so. Take care, kid.
Millie, drop that doll and grab the broom. There's work to be done.
Now, I'll admit, on my first playthrough of this quest, I did spare Guyton. I made a player decision that I would spare any Witchers that I come across. However, in truth, I find his motives completely understandable. However, his actions are reprehensible. I do not believe that he needed to kill everyone in that town, just the people who attacked him. And again, that's assuming that he's even telling the truth that they attacked him first. When you are defending yourself from a group of attackers, usually you will just leave it at that. But I can see how his adrenaline may have been up and he saw everyone as a threat to his life and safety. However, as a Witcher who has outlived his own sister, I do believe that Guyton should have had the experience to know who is an actual threat to him and who isn't. But if you've played this quest, please let me know what choice you've made and why. Did you kill Guyton or spare him? Did you tell the old woman the truth, or did you lie to her? Did you give her the money, or did you keep it for yourself? And now, to round this out, I want to circle back to when Geralt received the title the Butcher of Blaviken. This comes from the Witcher short story called The Lesser Evil, found in the collection of short stories called The Witcher, The Last Wish, written by Andrzej Sapkowski. Now, I'm not going to go through the story page by page, quote by quote, because we'd be here all day, and this video is running long enough. But I am going to highlight the main points that I believe Sapkowski is trying to convey with this short story. This story's central idea is that of choosing between one evil or another and choosing what you believe to be the lesser evil. It is also about three characters' relation to that lesser evil, to that choice. Those three characters are Geralt of Rivia, Stregobor the Mage, and Shrike, also known as Renfri. I want to start off by going through this famous quote that Geralt gives at the beginning of this tale. Evil is evil, Stregobor. Lesser, greater, middling. It's all the same. Proportions are negotiated, boundaries blurred. I'm not a pious hermit. I haven't done only good in my life. But if I'm to choose between one evil and another, then I prefer not to choose at all. Now, this quote from Geralt essentially says that he believes that all evil is the same, that the degrees and levels that we put on good and evil is entirely arbitrary when it comes down to it, and that if he is put in the position where there are only bad choices, the best choice is to not make one at all. This quote is also in response to Stregobor asking Geralt to choose between two evils and choose the lesser one. Now, I want to compare viewpoints here. Geralt of Rivia is a Witcher by trade, and he is a very quiet, reserved man. He's a very simple man. He doesn't really express his political viewpoints, if he has any at all. He's dealt with monsters that look like men and monsters that are men his entire career as a Witcher, so he's seen a lot of evil. But Geralt has seen this evil on a personal, individual level, whereas Stregobor is a mage. In the world of The Witcher, mages are heavily involved in politics, a lot of the time being royal advisors to the heads of countries, nations, and empires. They even have an organization unto themselves called the Brotherhood of Sorcerers, whose primary job it is to set rules and regulations for the use and practice of magic throughout the northern kingdoms. So where Geralt sees evil on an individual level, on a personal level, Stregobor has to see evil on a grander scale, on a national scale, on a world scale. And Sapkowski illustrates this to us by Stregobor's thoughts on the Curse of the Black Sun. The Curse of the Black Sun is a prophecy that foretells the end of human civilization at the hands of 60 noble-born women born during a solar eclipse. These 60 women would then bring about the return of the demon Lilith, and together they will destroy human civilization. This prophecy was deciphered from runes found by a wizard named Eltebald, and Stregobor believes Eltebald's teachings wholeheartedly. So Stregobor and other wizards of the Council of Wizards would go out to find these women and kill them and perform autopsies and vivisections on them. However, it became difficult to truly see who was affected by the Curse of the Black Sun, and so they decided that instead of just killing them, that they would lock them in towers. To Stregobor, killing these women or locking them away is the lesser evil, because the greater evil involves the end of all human civilization as we know it. Lastly, we have the character of Renfri, who is a darker version of Snow White, I'd say. Renfri was a princess who was born on the day of the Black Sun, the day of that eclipse. So she is one of the noble-born women who are suspected to have been afflicted by this curse. After Renfri's mother died, her father, the king, married again to a woman named Aridea. And Aridea had used a magic mirror during her reign as queen. In that mirror, she saw that her stepdaughter Renfri would end up killing her and a number of her courtiers. Her stepmother brought this to the attention of Stregobor, of all people. Stregobor journeyed to the kingdom and claimed that he had come to the conclusion after a number of experiments and tests that Renfri was in fact a mutant and did suffer from the Curse of the Black Sun. At that point, the queen, Renfri's stepmother, decided to hire a thug to take her into the woods and kill her. But things did not go exactly to plan, as the thug decided to assault Renfri right before Renfri gained the upper hand, killing the thug. From then on, Renfri lived a very hard life, a life of theft, prostitution, and murder. Renfri then joined up with a band of gnomes, and from then on, she would be called Shrike. Just like the bird, she impales her victims. During an unaccounted for amount of time, Renfri is rumored to have killed her mother. She also met Stregobor and tried to kill him for what he had done to her. However, Stregobor managed to survive the encounter by encasing her in a block of magical crystal. However, a prince had found her and lifted the spell, and now Renfri has tracked Stregobor all the way to Blaviken. Geralt is faced with three options. He could kill Renfri for Stregobor, or he could kill Stregobor for Renfri. Or he could just leave Blaviken. However, if he leaves Blaviken, then the townsfolk are going to get caught in the crossfire. A part of Renfri's plan is to use the townsfolk in order to lure out Stregobor away from his tower, and Stregobor does not care for the townsfolk. He doesn't care if they'll die. And thus, Geralt of Rivia is forced to make a decision. He is forced to choose the lesser of two evils. That lesser evil is Renfri. By the end of the fight, 7 people, including Shrike, lay dead in the middle of Blaviken, and the alderman cast judgment on the Witcher, asking him if this is what the lesser evil looks like, killing people in the middle of his town. Geralt responds yes, and the alderman casts him out, banishing him from the town forever. What I think Sapkowski is trying to say with this short story is that Geralt is correct, but also Shrike and Stregobor are correct. Evil is evil. There's no doubt about that, but there are also degrees to that evil, and sometimes you simply need to make the choice. You're put in a bad position, but what are you going to do? If you do nothing, then something much worse could happen. Just like there is a price to each and every choice that we make, there is also a price to staying neutral. The Witcher is a rich and beautifully crafted world that puts a mirror up to mankind by placing us in the shoes of someone who is on the outskirts of mankind, both literally and metaphorically. And that is what dark fantasy is all about. It forces you to look at your own humanity, your own capacity for compassion, for hatred, for violence, for love, and it forces you to just see all of it laid bare. And this is why I truly believe that The Witcher is the best dark fantasy media you can ever experience. If you've gotten this far into the video, I would like to say thank you for watching and listening to me ramble on about something that is near and dear to me and something that I just love more than life itself. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in another video. This has been Detective Cook, signing off.